Today we will extend the existing Blazor owner panel with invitation issuance. An owner enters a recipient email and the browser posts that one value to the current workspace endpoint. A successful response returns created with the management identifier, expiry, and a raw acceptance code. The panel shows that code in a clearly marked one-time result so the owner can copy it. Then it refreshes the pending list, whose safe rows still contain only identifier, email, and expiry. Start another attempt and the old code disappears before the new request leaves the browser. A rejected or failed attempt cannot make yesterday's code look newly issued. The finished slice is small, runnable, and deliberately strict about the unusual value crossing the success boundary. The smallest useful mental model is command result versus reusable state. Email and expiry are reusable management data, so the owner may request them again. The raw code is different. Whoever holds it can attempt to accept the invitation, so it is a bearer capability. The server stores only a hash and returns the raw value on the single successful issuance response. The Blazor component may hold that value briefly in memory so it can render and copy it, but it must not turn the secret into ordinary application state. A refresh cannot recover it. The pending list cannot contain it. A future error must not leave an old code looking current. This one-way boundary tells us exactly where the secret may exist and when it must disappear. Add issuance to the typed client boundary instead of making the Razor component inspect status codes and JSON. The command contains one email. The adapter validates the identifier, code, and expiry in the created response, then an issued result carries only the code and expiry the component needs. Invalid recipient lets the form repair its input. Conflict deliberately does not reveal whether the address is already active or already invited. Unauthorized and forbidden keep sign-in separate from current owner authority, while failure covers transport or malformed response problems. Only one result variant can contain the raw code. That makes secret handling visible in the type model and keeps accidental fall-through difficult. It also gives component tests a small vocabulary of business-shaped outcomes without copying the server's internal invitation model into the browser. The HTTP adapter sends a JSON body containing only email and includes the same browser credentials as the existing list and cancel calls. It does not send tenant identifier, role, lifetime, or code because the server owns all of them. For created, deserialize a narrow response and reject an empty identifier, blank code, or default expiry as a technical failure. Map bad request, conflict, unauthorized, and forbidden into their typed results. Any other status, request exception, or JSON failure becomes failure, with no response body copied into a log message. The response uses no store at the server boundary, but that header is only one layer. The client must still avoid diagnostic shortcuts that would duplicate the secret after the response has been disposed. Place a small form above the existing pending list. It has one labeled email input with native required and address validation for fast feedback. The server repeats strict validation because browser rules are convenience, not authority. While issuance runs, disable the submit button, refresh button, and cancellation button so two-page commands cannot race through the same state. The button text changes to issuing so assistive technology and sighted users receive the same progress queue. Keep the existing alert and status regions for denied and failed outcomes. The form never asks for a workspace, role, expiry, or acceptance code. That keeps the browser command aligned with the owner-only API and prevents a convenient user interface from quietly widening the trust boundary. The most important component detail happens before the network call. Set the current issued secret to null, then mark the panel busy, and only then await the post. Imagine the first invitation succeeds and shows code A. The owner changes the address and retries, but the second request fails. If code stays on screen beside the new error, it can look like the code for the second recipient. Clearing first prevents the dangerous mismatch. Assign a new transient secret only when the new result is issued. Do not place it in the form model, a shared state container, or a persisted cache. Refreshing, cancelling another row or leaving the page clears it. This is a one-time reveal boundary, not a recovery feature. On issued, render a one-time success region containing the raw code and expiry. A read-only field lets the owner select and copy the value without writing it to application storage. Then request the safe pending list again so the new email and expiry appear alongside existing rows. Treat these as two outcomes. The invitation already exists if the post succeeded, even when the follow-up get fails. Keep the one-time code visible and show a warning that the list may be out of date. Do not retry issuance automatically. The refreshed list is allowed to repeat safe management data, but it cannot recreate or replace the transient secret. That separation preserves the only copy the owner can receive. A tempting shortcut is to build an acceptance URL in the owner panel and append the raw code as a query parameter. URLs leak into browser history, copied diagnostics, proxy logs, referrer headers and analytics. Logging the response or interpolating the code into an exception creates another durable copy. Local storage and session storage survive longer than this component should, and adding code to the pending list turns a one-time response into a repeatable read. Do none of those things. For this slice, the secret moves through one narrow path: the no-store created response, transient component memory, the rendered read-only field and a deliberate user copy. The server persists only the hash. When delivery is automated later, it needs a dedicated secure boundary rather than a convenient URL assembled in Blazor. The HappyPath test submits a valid address, asserts the adapter received that exact email, and confirms the returned code appears in the one-time region while the refreshed row contains only email and expiry. The stronger test succeeds once, queues a second request that has not completed, submits another address, and immediately asserts the first code is absent while controls are disabled. Complete the retry with failure and prove the old code does not return. Adapter tests verify created validation, the access and conflict mappings, included credentials and a request body with no tenant, role, expiry, or code fields. Finally, search the rendered list markup for the raw code. Testing disappearance makes the security lifetime executable instead of leaving it as a comment. We added invitation issuance to the Blazor owner panel without turning a bearer capability into ordinary page data. The form submits only the recipient email. The typed adapter validates the created response and makes issued the only result that carries a code. The component clears any old secret before a retry, holds a successful code only in memory, renders it in a one-time region, and keeps it available if the independent safe list refresh fails. URLs, logs, browser storage and later get responses remain code-free. The tests prove not only that the secret appears after success, but also that it disappears before retry and cannot be resurrected by failure. Next, we can replace manual copying with a dedicated server-side delivery boundary while keeping the pending list safe and repeatable.